I
never
get. Yeah.
You never get to what, Ray?
No, do the intro. Do the intro.
Do the intro.
Recorded September 23rd, 2024. Happy birthday, Brody.
That was actually nice. Thank you, Edward.
It was
Happy
pretty
birthday,
good.
Brody.
Happy
How are
birthday,
you? Older.
Thank you.
He looks wiser. His hair
Yep.
like automatically cut itself like today.
I had a
Distinguished.
bad hair day. Honestly, I got up and like a customer moved a call like an hour and a half earlier, and I was like, I could sleep in a little bit today. I wake up, I'm like, I need to be on a call in 10 minutes, and it was like, okay,
Dude, whatever you did, do it again.
This is bedhead.
It looks great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean,
You guys look great too.
Productionize it. That's how good it is.
yeah.
I don't have a
Monetize
tree
it.
here.
I'm gonna vectorize his hair and put it on my head. As the sun glistens off my bald dome.
That
Don't
was
make me
You
do
guys
it.
can see
Rod
reflection.
line.
Can you guys
Don't
see
make me do
reflection
it.
in my hands in my head? That's how shiny.
Yeah,
it is.
actually, could you like angle yourself a little different? It's like, oh, it's right in my
I mean,
eye.
it's very like mythological god. Like I'm really feeling it right now.
Hey, an
Wow.
evil god too,
Yeah.
make no doubt.
Why
and
is
I
it an
love,
evil-
'cause I love sacrifices. You damn skipping.
Wow,
There you
okay.
go.
Like Austin Powers, Dr. Evil. You need a cat? Can you do the whole pinky thing? Yeah.
Give me a cat. 2 cats, right? 2-headed cats. Sitting right there. There you go.
Okay. It always just evolves from it just like a little comment to something magical, and I'm always impressed. So thank you for keeping the trend.
Well, anyway,
Thanks, Morton.
good afternoon, Ray. Good afternoon, Rodney. And good afternoon, Brody. Brody, what you do this week? What you do last week? What you do over the weekend?
Oh man, what have I been doing?
Answer that in 3 parts, please.
Okay, what did I do?
What you do this
Today
weekend?
I'm just this weekend. This weekend I got some new golf clubs, more golf clubs on top of.
Wait,
the golf
yeah,
clubs
because you
I
had to. Where are you living? Is this like Groundhog Day? You just
I'm doing like the whole. I bought irons, and then I got a golf club for my birthday, and then I got So it's all almost here, and I get the driver next week.
Is
so
this
I got
what
that
happens when you turn 39? Because I turned 39, and I just.
for guys. Ray, you have to specialize in 2 of 3 things when you hit
Okay.
your like 39 40s. It's
Okay.
grass cutting and landscaping,
Yep.
barbecuing and smoking, or
Yep.
or golf. Right.
Okay.
Like, these are the 3 core tenets of middle-aged men. Right. So you need to
But
achieve some of the.
Oh my God, we're middle aged. That's fun. What's the
I didn't do any of
quintessential female version? I don't think
That'd
I'm
be different.
doing like. Do I just give up on? I just wear my eating pants. This is what I'm
Ray,
doing.
I would invite
Eating
you.
pants.
We don't want hard pants when you're eating. I would invite you, Ray, to let
Yeah.
us know what you do.
Yeah, we'll bring.
Does that
we'll
involve
get-
Velcro, by the way? I'm not sure.
Does
next-
that
the next-
involve-
Next time we ask that question, we'll ask Ray, what is quintessential 39 as you get ready to go to 40? We'll figure that out. So you got some new golf clubs. You got a new iron for your bag. All right, that was the weekend. Did you do anything interesting last week? Like work?
Last week, honestly, I'm like all of my projects were delayed, and now they're all starting at the same time. Consulting, yay! And so I'm just like trying to keep afloat and not work until 7 every night. So I'm working on a gig with a customer, financial services, and we're basically helping secure their internal data protected environment. Right, I got to be very vague. So that's interesting. I'm working with another federal customer on Azure landing zones, identity architecture and design. That's kind of kicking off this week. I'm working with another customer out of the States that needs to get some, what are we doing there? That's threat modeling and reviewing their security architecture, making sure they have the good things turned on and the bad things turned off. And then another one's starting up soon. And then next week, I'm helping interview Canadian applicants for our consulting team at the EAG security team at Microsoft. So that'll be fun. So I'm busy.
Good.
That's what I'm doing. Yeah. All right. That's my legit answer. Okay.
Okay. Well, let the last one go. You know, today is your birthday. You shouldn't have done anything today other than live. There you go.
I did go to the driving range for an hour.
Yeah.
Welcome to the day before the next day or the last day of your life type of scenario, right?
Thanks, Edward. Appreciate it.
Fine. Yeah. Life is terminal, brother. Terminal.
Yeah.
Absolutely it is.
Hey.
But fun. I'm
You don't know if it's going to be the last time. You never know, man. So get
never
the ball.
know,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And so Ray, besides all the Baileys that's in your coffee you're drinking,
The Baileys. I wish. I, somebody go get me some. Let's see. Well, I left my house today at like 4 in the morning, or like 4:30 to get to the airport, get to headquarters. So I'm in the hotel right now, and there's a technical summit, so that's fun. That was like last minute. What a whirlwind! But some of my team's going to be here, so why not? And I've been preaching the good word of Defender Expert, so that's, it's picking up like gangbusters. So that's like incredible. And I'm working with the lead hunter to assemble some public facing hunting panels, so that the world at large can enjoy all of the brilliance of the Defender Experts folks. So a lot of exciting stuff, and then homework. I have been in my third master's program since 2021. And I'm really targeting a graduation date of 2025. So we're going strong. I need 3 more modules, and I'm done. And then I'm done. So, well, pedal to the metal. So
yeah,
pray for me.
Let's get that Kali instance up and running. Try hard.
The Kali instance, I just did not use Docker Compose, and my professor, who's like kick ass, like he's awesome, but he is hard ass, and he's like, you needed to use Docker, and I was like, but I got it without Docker. So here we are.
It's like a class. I don't care about the right answer. Show your work. Let me see your work.
I showed my work. What had happened was that it was not to the level, the specifications. I deviated. That's all.
I also hate reading instructions, Ray. So it's all good.
Yeah, we're
I
IT
have
people.
ADHD.
The only time we read instructions is troubleshoot. Read
Exactly.
instructions.
Exactly.
What's an instruction? All right, Rod. What about you, man? Besides having the cooties.
Other than, I think this is fourth or fifth COVID. I forget which one. I think I'm really, really close to getting that sub, right? Getting my little ticket punch so I can get
loyalty
that
card. Yeah.
So I go down like to the the little hospital restaurant area and get a free sub or whatever. So I'm looking
hospital
forward to
sub.
Great. I did want to mention, because Brody, I was actually looking for it. I'll have to find it and stick it in as a link later. But speaking of Canada, there's a couple things that I thought were of interest and might be of interest to some folks listening in or our live audience. There is a Canadian cybersecurity/AI event coming up here shortly in Toronto, and I'm gonna have to find it. And I saw it this morning and I forgot to save it somewhere. I'm sure it's probably in my history somewhere, but I'll share that. But that actually looks pretty neat. Chris Stelzer, who's been on our show a couple times, he's actually going to be there talking about some of the stuff that he does, so those that listen into this show, if you're in Canada and want to be part of that, you'll be able to actually meet Chris in person. The other thing, last week, I don't know how many people actually caught this. 2 partners have been on our show in the past 6 months and probably longer, because they've been on a couple times. Quorum Cyber and Defenda, who we talked about, Copilot for Security, during our partner month leading up to RSA this year. Quorum Cyber acquired Defenda last week. Speaking of Canada, because Defenda is headquartered in Toronto, and a good buddy of ours, Clive Watson, who I used to work with when he worked at Microsoft on all the Azure Monitor, Sentinel, and KQL stuff. Him and I had a discussion about that last week, and they are headed to Toronto, to the headquarters, to have big meetings and stuff. So just to kind of start the ball rolling with that acquisition. I think that's going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I saw that last week when I threw it there, and I thought we know people on both companies, right? Ricky Simpson over and Clive over at Quorum, and we know Jacqueline and I forget the other person's name from Defenda, and we just had them on. Like
Miranda and Derek, and then who did we have on from? And we also had get the lady's name we had on for Women in Cyber last year from Defenda as well. I forgot about
starts beautiful name, starts with an A. I'm terrible with names, but yeah, I know you're talking about. So that was interesting to see that acquisition. You know what? knowing what I know about both companies, it made sense for Quorum. They've been trying to break into the U.S. and
Yeah.
so Defenders had already cracked the code. So why not join forces? Both of them legitimate, solid security companies, and you get the processes and you get the knowledge, and now you get that talent. So happy for both of them. Both really solid partners to do that. Um, the other, let me see, what did I break today? So back into the Sentinel groove, and maybe I have a even more appreciation for Brody's work. I had to set up Purview because someone wanted to see some advanced auditing and logging ingestion in the Sentinel. So I thought it'd just be easy. Go in there, buy a license, Purview, do it. It's actually involved.
Oh,
So
you actually have to do things. Weird.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
I got involved and geeked out on it because I thought it was like assign the license, do this. You couldn't even log into the portal. It's like you don't have a Purview account, you don't have the connector, you haven't done this. Like,
You think you can just do
okay.
whatever you want, you know?
Yeah,
Jeez.
and I said, oh, you need to go into Azure and create a resource group. Why? Then you have to buy consumption units. Why?
Oh, you're doing structured data. Oh, that's the hard part that I don't touch.
I'm knee deep in it, man. I'm actually sort of like,
Ugh.
that's cool. So I'm
It's-
getting it
yeah.
in, and I'm looking at the tables, how the schema is coming in, capturing some stuff. I think maybe one of the shows, if we had do Adjust Us, or maybe the first 10 minutes of one, I got my lab set up, but the thing I'm still working on, you got 3 major connectors from Purview into Sentinel. I had to go decommission some of the deprecated ones, clean it out, and then bring in 3. And inside of there is the configurations and the analytic rules that I'm playing around with. So instead of just saying yes, 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 I'm actually going through and looking at like, what am I capturing here, right? Doing that, that's pretty cool. The other thing was Sentinel. Rod and I have been doing this since he and I have known each other, right? Pricing in Sentinel is always going to be a discussion. So one of the things, and I put it in our background notes, a couple of things. I don't know what Rod just put in there. He put a different note in there. Sentinel pricing. They've added 2 things. One's not super new, and one is relatively new. You can go the standard pay as you go per gigabit. You can go a commitment level where you commit to a certain tier, 100 gigabytes, all the way up to like 50,000 gigabytes a day. But now you have the ability to prepay. I mean, I'm going to buy the projected ingestion of data in advance and give you different layers of discounting for that. And then they also have one where Sentinel is priced like you pay for Sentinel and you pay for log analytics. And I'm sorry that the URL is not pretty. And so instead of having to pay for log analytics ingestion, instead of having to pay for Sentinel ingestion independent, you have simplified ingestion. We just get one cost. You just see one SKU that you have to look at. So those are 2 things I've been playing with. I started playing around with auxiliary logs. I know what Microsoft is trying to do better.
Make money.
I'll leave it at that. Right? Try harder. So
Well, Flexing Tony said this, and I've heard this like 100 times. Exactly 100 times. We're calling everything SCU at this point. Security Compute Unit. Go ahead.
But the Purview only had CU, so it was just consumption unit. Nothing in front of it. I don't know.
Well, the other thing is the Sentinel cost, whatever it is. Yeah.
It could have been ICU, information cost units.
There you go.
Oh, we're gonna make a bunch of new acronyms? That never
We
happened.
should have acronym show. Just
Yeah.
come up with acronyms, right?
Just a Microsoft acronym show. I love that.
Yeah.
So Sentinel pricing.
I wouldn't come to that one.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Sentinel pricing, Purview goodness, and Purview specific for DLP instances and advanced audit, which I think is in private preview. I think I put it in the a public preview. I put it in the notes. I'll write it up, and maybe we'll talk about it in the next 10. Get out of here, Bug. And that's what I've been geeking out on. But hey, we have our guest that's eating up all our snacks in the room, so we got to get him out of there. Yeah. Microsoft Purview data loss prevention. There's the link, people.
Man, those links. We need to do something about that.
That link's not
We have
right. That
short
link just,
links.
before we get to our guest, sorry, that link just takes you to the DLP page, which doesn't show you what's in preview. So
Yeah.
I'm a
Oh.
little confused.
Why-
I don't know.
why
if it's
don't-
DLP.
Why don't we
Sorry.
just use short links, y'all?
Yeah, we had to figure because I didn't have it keyed up. StreamYard, if you're monitoring our private conversation, our podcast, we'll see some feedback. You need to have a teeny URL feature built into it. So as soon as I put something in there, it does it for me.
Yeah.
Oh, Brody
Ouch.
saying IT in the URL feature is Rod.
Yeah, it's actually me. I'm
Rod, keep moving.
I'm the short link mechanism.
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
just
yeah. Well,
So, on to our guests. Excellent. So today we have some amazing folks from the Microsoft Student Ambassadors Program. Is that correct, gentlemen?
Yeah.
Excellent. And I'll let you do your own introductions. This is a very interesting topic. I wasn't aware of this service prior to today, so I really would thank you for coming on the show. Please introduce yourselves and tell us about what you do and what service you provide to the community.
Sure, I can start. First of all, thanks for having us. Really excited to be here. My name is Pablo Armendi, and I am the Global Director for the Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador community. Learn Student Ambassadors are university students that are passionate about tech and want to share that passion with their peers, specifically Microsoft Tech. And they use Microsoft Learn to skill up themselves and also to get their peers excited about learning all about our services and products, and then getting those peers to get excited and kind of jump on the bandwagon and start using our products and services. I've been at Microsoft for 13 years and been running our student programs for the past 9. And I've been on the director of the ambassadors for the past 5 years. And it's, just really an honor and a privilege for me to be able to drive this community forward. They inspire us, really feel like the ambassadors are mission in action of empowering every person and organization on the planet to achieve more. They do that every day. And there's tons of visibility internally at Microsoft for these students, gives them something to put on their resume. What we hear all the time is, I want something, that I can, something I get my hands into, somebody, the newest tech, because they're not getting that at the university. And so they come join our community, and just really thrilled to be a part of it. And we actually have a gold student ambassador with us, and I'll let's introduce himself.
Yeah, my name is Niklas, and I'm 21 years old, and I'm currently studying data technician, specializing in infrastructure. So that means I'm involved in everything infrastructure related. And I'm also currently a gold student ambassador. I think I was advanced to that milestone in start September or August maybe this year, and I've been a part of the program for nearly about over a year now. That's a little bit about me.
Very cool.
Well, and Brody, you mentioned a little bit earlier that you were just made aware of this because of this episode. I was just made aware of this through my interactions with Morton and Nicholas, who I met at MMS in Minneapolis earlier this year. So I learned about this ambassador program. I thought this was like super neat. I'd never heard of it before either. It's one of those things where you work at Microsoft for, a long time, and we have so much going on here that sometimes it's just so hard to get details or at least even know about some of this stuff. So I was super happy because, Morton is a huge, he always says it's all about communities, just about connections and community. So he introduced us, Nicholas and I, and a couple of our colleagues, we ate at Wahlburgers. And Nicholas, can you attest, is Wahlburgers the best hamburger in the world?
Yeah, it was very good, but I probably can't say it's the best, but it was very good.
Yeah, I don't know about the best. I was recently in Copenhagen, and hamburgers there are pretty good.
Yeah,
you got love in them.
Yeah. Pablo, I was kind of wondering, just to kind of get us started, I think, down the road of talking through this program, I noticed immediately. So, little history for me. I was like one of the very first, if you want to go back that far and think, you're like, man, this guy's old. I was one of the very first non-Microsoft MVPs. This was like back in the 1990s. The MVP program was an internal program. Then it was kind of converted into hey, let's go look at our customer volunteers and let's figure out how to reward those people. But I noticed your program here falls, if we look at the actual URL, it falls under the MVP program. Is that how does that work?
So the intent is that we came together with all our community programs because we wanted to share infrastructure, share a back end, because we were kind of operating with 2 different websites, one for student ambassadors, one for MVP, but we really kind of do ultimately the same thing, right? And so really to make sure that we're up to date, have the newest features, and we're secure, we decided to bring it all under one platform and really ultimately I would love for Nicholas to become an MVP once he graduates from university, right? And so while that's not the end goal, we have over 3,000 students in the program today. Not every one of them is going to become an MVP, obviously, but the ones that are really engaged with the community, really about building that profile, we want to help them get to that next level so that when they graduate, they too can become an MVP. And I think we had, in just this last cycle, I think we had like 5 or 6 ambassadors become MVPs across the globe.
Oh,
The
wow.
first AI ambassador in Africa, John Aziz, was an ambassador, gold ambassador, before he became an AI ambassador, AI MVP in Africa. And so it's an incredible opportunity for university students to really get a leg up and have that experience they can show on their resume. We give all kinds of free trainings, obviously, through Microsoft Learn, but we give certification vouchers so they can take exams and get certified with no money out of their pocket. We give them all kinds of benefits, swag to give out at their events. And yeah, it's like, I always refer to it as the MVP is the professional version of our program, but I'm sure MVPs would say we're the student version of theirs. But yeah, there's a lot of opportunity for students to potentially take that step, and also for MVPs to get involved and really help mentor these amazing students across the globe.
Yeah, so I'm hearing, I guess, that so Nicholas is focused on infrastructure, and you just mentioned AI. So this is across the board. This is not just AI or infrastructure or security.
Right.
It follows kind of the MVP model where we're looking for that skill set or those volunteers across the board, right?
Yeah, what I tell students all the time is, like, if you have technology in your career path, you're welcome to be part of this community. If you're you have to be passionate about it too, right? And passionate about building community. But I mean, that today is every career path, right? And so, and as we all know, Microsoft has a solution for practically every job out there. So, yeah, we really do want that breadth of thought and of lived experience. And we want to make sure that we're a diverse program, and that everybody, university students, by the way, university students know that they're welcome to be part of it.
Well, this is my first time really hearing about it also. And Rod, thanks for bringing that old MVP thing up. I had forgotten about that. That really is going back. So, Pablo, I hear the word ambassador, but the way you're describing this program is making my brain sort of work. Like, everything around ambassador to me sort of goes with the term, right? I'm an evangelist. I'm a delegate. I'm here to bring goodwill. Why the term ambassador for this program? And that's part one. And part two is, I heard one of the qualifications. You have to be a university student, right?
Yep.
So the first part is, why the name ambassador? Are they out providing goodwill and recruiting and are doing something, or representing something? And number two, are there other requirements other than being a university student?
Great questions. I'd say for the first one, our kind of internal motto is be a force for good, right? And so that students are learning technology, helping kind of bring up their community or raise up their community by giving them, showing them how they can have access to it. And anybody could be an ambassador, and anybody can use technology. The democratization of tech and AI and all this stuff. There's so much more opportunity now today than there ever has been. And so, what I also tell ambassadors that in many cases, this will be the first interaction a student has with somebody who's associated with Microsoft, right? And so they are really our ambassadors to their fellow students in terms of opening their eyes and their minds to what they can do with Microsoft products and services. And so that's part of the reason for the terminology. And then in terms of eligibility, they have to be university students, and again, they have to have technology as some part of their career path, which is essentially anybody these days, and they have to be over 16 years old as the other requirement. So,
does the program recruit? And I guess ambassador would have to be an adequate term now that you described it, because we are deeply ingrained into Microsoft right around the learning piece anyway, and we didn't know about it. So are the students, part of their functions to go tell their peers, hey, if you're doing technology, you need to do this?
Yeah, absolutely. And there is definitely a gap even internally at Microsoft for folks that aren't aware of the program, and externally too. But the ambassadors are really going towards their peers, right? So they're really trying to kind of be that person on campus where folks say, oh, I need help with Microsoft, or I'm interested in Microsoft. And that's that go-to person. I'll let Nicholas talk to a little bit more about his experience of being an ambassador, and what that's been like for him.
Yeah, so basically at the moment, actually, I'm only the only one in Denmark being a student ambassador, and I've currently been the only one as well since I started in the program. I think one of the reasons is because it's not well known in Denmark, but one of the things that the program has shown me is that once you get involved with the program, but also get involved with your CPM. We have the same CPM as the MVP does. So that means that especially my CPM has been really helpful and connected me with MVPs, Microsoft employees. So I got that whole community feeling quite quickly. So if you're out looking for internship as well, I mean, the program is a really great opportunity for you, because if you want to, you can get a quite strong opportunity, or at least some connections out there that can help you in the future as well. Not only with
Yes.
the internships, but also with your learning skills, technical.
Yeah, so you
and
mentioned
soft.
you're like the king of Denmark when it comes to the ambassador program. Because Denmark does have a king. Sorry, I had to throw that in.
Good joke, Rob.
But how do you interact? Is it mostly virtually? Do you do a lot of in-person events? Because I noticed one of the prospected, the value adds for being an ambassador is getting to go to some of these events, right? So, you and I have met at events, but is that how you connect with others? Do you see that as kind of like the best part of this, personally and professionally, is making those connections? Or, like I said, how do you do that? Is it mostly virtual?
So basically, I connect with people, I would say 50-50 virtually and in person as well. Like last week, I came back from an event in Switzerland, and I've been in the US, I've been in the UK as well, where I've been an attendee of some of them, but also been speaking at the one in the UK. But also, I'm a part of a lot of different online communities as well, and yeah, it's really depends. And also being a part of the program, you also have to, or you can host virtual events as well. So, yeah.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
prior to the pandemic, we most of the ambassadors were hosting in person, and during the pandemic, obviously they went all virtual. And what was fascinating about that was that, before the pandemic, you'd have somebody like Nicholas who's doing events only in his university in Norway, right? And so what we saw during the pandemic was suddenly ambassadors would work together from different places across the globe. We'd have a student in Mexico and London and Africa putting an event on together, a virtual event, and inviting the whole world, right? And so the kind of insular nature of how the ambassadors were doing their events before kind of evaporated during the pandemic, and we've seen that continue in terms of they are partnering with other folks, they are hosting virtual events, and there's no longer this like sense that it has to only be for my university or my city or my country. It's really open to anybody who's interested in learning, right?
Well, and I've seen that as well. There's been a lot of during COVID, right? Everything was virtual or remote. But I think, to me personally, just working at Microsoft, I think we were actually slower to get more in person than our actual customers and people in these programs. They wanted to get in person like right away, and I think Microsoft Reactor is one of the things that is the great example, because they're now just still kind of doing some things in person and things like that. But knowing Nicholas and other folks, particularly Europe, they were back in person events almost immediately a couple years after.
So Pablo, this is a question to you. This is if Nicholas is part of the program, so it defies borders. How ingrained are you to the universities? Do universities recognize what you are doing with some of their students?
Recognize what we as Microsoft in terms of the program are doing?
Is it part of the curriculum? Does it confer credit?
No, it does not confer credit. But we do have many. We have like letters from the program team that help students like set up a club, for example, in their university, right? And say this is a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador Club. So we do that type of thing, but we don't necessarily work directly with the university. I mean, we're in over 1,200 universities. And so like in order to scale and have that kind of relationship with each of those universities, it's extremely difficult.
Mhm.
And so we really rely on the ambassadors themselves to build that relationship and make sure the university understands who they are, what they're there for. And in some cases, I've seen ambassadors help the university IT folks, right, with their Microsoft questions or how to better take advantage of Teams or what have you, because they are one of the experts there, right? And so, but it really depends across the globe and the different situations that each ambassador and each university is in.
That's
And
go ahead, Ray. I'm sorry.
no. I loved your question, and because it got to the heart of what I was thinking around. So I know when you're like full-time employee behind the scenes internally, that feedback loop, but between the customer, between product groups, et cetera, that is crucial. Is there some kind of established, formalized feedback loop within the ambassador community? So, evangelizing within the student body, and then you bringing those learnings in, and then it's kind of like a deliverable or a milestone throughout their journey.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things I'd say there. One is that once you become an ambassador, we have all of our ambassadors on their own Teams instance. And so we're communicating with them on Teams, they're communicating with us. We do quarterly feedback surveys, both on the program itself, on how they're doing and as an evangelist, as an ambassador themselves, and also for different software and services that are out there, right? One thing that we introduced this year is that Gold Ambassadors are eligible for the NDA program. And so if they're not involved in any other competitors' programs, they can sign the NDA and actually join MVP events as well, right? And so and then be part of that product feedback loop for that. But one thing I would state is we do have different milestones in the program. And so just, I know we talked about eligibility, but just so I can get in like what the process is like, we changed last year or this year, I guess, early January. Instead of having an application-driven program, we're now more about seeing what students accomplish, and they can earn their way into becoming an ambassador. And so you can register at any time, and you can join Discord, or if you don't want to join Discord, we have a whole SharePoint of the different activities that we are asking ambassadors to do and different program pathways. And then as they achieve kind of the thresholds for those, then they get invited to become an ambassador. Once they become an ambassador, they get a studentambassadors.com email account. They have their own M365 account. They're on Teams. And that's where we do a majority of our interaction, not even a majority, almost all of our interaction with ambassadors is through Teams. That's what kind of facilitated a lot of that cross-border, communication and friendship and partnership among ambassadors, because they're all in the same space, right? And many of them were coming to Teams during the pandemic just for something to do, right? And like to talk with other people that are interested in tech. And so it's really great to see that. And then we have our cloud advocacy team and developer relations, which, by the way, we're part of developer relations as well at Microsoft. Our cloud advocacy team are coming to essentially skill up our ambassadors on the different services and products that they're working on, right? And evangelizing to really help our ambassadors be that scale motion in the universities, right? And so, and then they ask for feedback from the ambassadors, right? So there's a bunch of different ways ambassadors can feedback on the program itself, on different services and software and technologies that we have here at Microsoft, and just in general, their experience as an ambassador.
How you said 1,200 universities in all over the world. Is that list private? Is that list something you could share? I like to.
So, like MVPs, if you go to studentambassadors.com, it'll kind of redirect you to the URL that you showed earlier. But there's a search, and you can go to that search, and every ambassador is listed on that search, and their university is listed there too.
Yeah.
Now, one caveat I would put in is that the universities are all the ambassador themselves write it out, right? And so the spelling or the acronyms may be different, so it's kind of hard to get the exact list of universities, because not everybody writes it in the right way when they apply, but they're all in there. So if you click on Nicholas here, you'll see universities in, and
what a profile picture. Great profile picture.
He looks a little younger. You've been in this longer than a year.
And so also you see here we have all of our, so it's exactly the same profile as MVPs have. We have links to their socials, so you can connect with them and see what they're doing. Like, it's really all about having And ambassadors, by the way, love this. They love having a profile on a Microsoft.com website, right? Because then it really shows their affiliation with Microsoft and gives them back for all the work they're doing in evangelizing in their communities, right? It gives them that recognition by Microsoft for that. And you can see that, Nicholas, he can decide his featured activities he wants to put on there as well, and kind of make that profile his own. So,
okay, that's good. So, Nicholas, question to you: within this huge ecosystem of your peers, how often do you interact with folks from different parts of the world and everything? Do you have micro communities, or how's that interaction with your peers?
Yeah, so basically, how it works is like it's teams. So we have like a big different teams rooms, and then you can ask people if they're interested in different areas, and in that way you can connect with your peers. But of course, in the beginning, it's a little bit limited of which peers you have. But once you get in the program, you host your events, you participate in AI projects. If you are interested in AI, you eventually will get some really great connections as well. And I mean, based on my experience, the connections will come automatically once you join the program. So I would say that the last couple of virtual events I've hosted, has been together with another student ambassador from Africa. So yeah, it's
Nice.
yeah, it's really
I see it's a great opportunity to break time zones, being able to talk to someone who may be, at university, at school, while you're probably off school based on the time zone. Pablo, this question to you. I see that Nicholas is gold, so you went the airline standard, right? So do you freshman year silver, second year gold, or if you're in the South, you're a sophomore, not sophomore,
Yeah.
sophomore, and then junior you would be platinum, and senior diamond, 4 years. Is that?
So we actually based on a product development life cycle. So you start as just a student ambassador, you become a beta ambassador, and then you become gold, right? So it's more about like, when the software development life cycle and when things are ready for release, right? So, but that's a great point. When you get into the program, you're just, you're a student ambassador. Once you've hosted your first event and skilled at least 15 of your peers and reported that back to us, you get advanced to the beta milestone. At that point, we send like a swag kit where you have your own t-shirt, like the one I'm wearing, and a water bottle, like the one behind me. I'm up there, I should say, and stickers that you can give out at your events, right? And so, and the certificate you can see behind Nicholas there, the printed certificate. And so you can really show your affiliation with the program. And then for gold, like, so, out of the 3,000 plus ambassadors that we have, I'd say maybe 80% of them are beta, because every quarter we get new ones coming in. But 250 are gold. And so we're really on the lookout for those that are really active within the program, that are taking advantage of everything we have to offer, that are getting certified, that are, helping their peers, mentoring students coming in, that are really showing leadership, and we nominate them to be gold ambassadors. And they don't have to accept, because, it does add a little more. We have more expectations out of our gold ambassadors than we do out of the rest of the ambassadors. But it's a great opportunity, as Nicholas mentioned. The CPMs work with our gold ambassadors as well, right? Because they are looking at the pipeline and saying, we want to see these ambassadors become MVPs, right? So it's also it's their advantage to really get to know these ambassadors, especially since they're the future tech leaders, right? And so it's great to have that kind of progression within the program.
Brody went first.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Brody.
Okay, so we've got ambassadors, we got gold ambassadors. This is setting you up for your career. Does this lead to internships, postings at organizations, posting within Microsoft? What's the next step here for you or for the program, or folks a part of the program?
Great question. So folks within Microsoft in recruiting know what the ambassadors are, and they know what the difference between a beta and a gold ambassador are. So we can't guarantee any placement in internships. We can't guarantee any placement in jobs, but it definitely makes a difference. I actually have a recommendation letter for all of our gold ambassadors if they're applying for a master's, a PhD, a job, that I give directly to our gold ambassadors. So, hopefully that means something to the employer. The director of Microsoft is endorsing them. But yeah, so we do what we can to highlight what they accomplish, and then obviously it's up to the ambassadors themselves to go show up at the interview and do that work. So nothing's guaranteed, obviously, but we do have many ambassadors that become interns that then become full-time employees here at Microsoft. But we also have many more that become full-time employees at other companies. And actually, that's what we want to see, because we want them to be the future decision makers, business decision makers, and really influencing within the company to choose Microsoft. And so it's not a recruiting motion for Microsoft. That was never the intent for the ambassador program. By the way, it used to be called the Student Partners. So it's I think it's over 15 years old, if I have my numbers correct. So it's not, it's
another rebrand, and we forgot what it is. So
yes, exactly. We rebranded in during the pandemic 2020, but or no, 2018 I think is when we rebranded it. But anyway, so it's not any guarantee, but we've heard time and time again from ambassadors that having that experience to put on the resume, some of them present at Reactor, some of them present at Build and Ignite, and that's something you put on your resume, right? And that's something you get talked to when you interview. That many other students don't have experiences like that, right? And so, no guarantees, but obviously we see how far these ambassadors go.
No, Pablo guaranteed it. Pablo guaranteed it right here, folks. So Nicholas, what do you want to do next, Nicholas? Right, you're specializing in infrastructure. You're working with the best cloud environment on the planet. Like, what do you want to do next in your career?
I'm not quite sure what I want to do next. I think right now I just want to continue contribute to the community like I do now. I'm very involved in the endpoint management community in regards to Intune and Defender. And back 1 year ago, I was a little bit afraid of standing and talking in front of people, but in July this year, I had my first in-person event together with another MVP.
Congrats.
And has been talking at several virtual events as well. When we're talking about Reactor, we have 4 series Reactor series going on in November as well. It's just to give a little idea of what you can accomplish if you find the magic and you would like to, and you see.
Well, that's what I was kind of interested myself, because this is a great start to your career. If you're starting to speak now and getting that experience, because it's only going to build from there. I think that you're in university and you're already getting that speaking experience. There's a lot of people that are impacted by just not being extroverts, and so they'll never reach out and do that. So that's a great perk, I think, for this program, is giving you that confidence. But we were supposed to have a couple other ambassadors on, and I think they're not here probably because of time zone issues. But Nicholas, thank you so much for joining. I knew you would, by the way. I didn't even second guess. But so I wanted to actually kind of have a comparison, but I do want to know, based on what the program has offered you, Nicholas, both professionally and personally, right? What is your favorite thing? Is it sitting in on the MVP calls? Is it potentially being an MVP one of these days? Is it something else that you're doing to connect? I don't know. What's the biggest perk that you found that find biggest value for you?
I haven't been a part of the PTI calls yet, so can't really talk about that one. But I think one of the biggest things and things that I will remember for a long time is, a great example. We are out eating at the MMS together and see what. That's where this whole idea with this session today was brought on as well. I think one of the best things about this is the connections and the people you get to know.
I think that's, if I had to look at myself, both personally and professionally, for anything that I've done throughout my career, it's always been those things where I make those really solid connections, right? That's just, community is everything, just like Morten says.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't talk about Morten and not talk about community. So
Nicholas, I have to say as well, you're, as a consultant working with Microsoft and then working with partners, working for a partner previously, the areas that you're specializing in are not going away anytime soon. They're highly in demand, and any major organization on the planet needs people like you to be in their organization specializing on these items, managing the fleet, managing the infrastructure, managing endpoints for humans everywhere. So, you couldn't, one of the best spots you could be in right now, in my opinion, is that suite, right? The Defender suite. Never been in a better place. Intune, the entire thing up and down. Like people need stuff. People need stuff to work. People need stuff to work in house. People need stuff to work remote. We need to make sure that we have secure infrastructure for folks to be able to access and utilize within virtual environments. So great selection, Nicholas. Very
Yeah.
a lot of
Just not
forethought.
WSUS. Just don't.
No, we wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
No.
If you really want to sell your career, Nicholas, Microsoft Defender for cloud apps. Absolutely, you put that on your resume, you're in. You might as well have a triple PhD.
Yeah, it's either that or Exchange on-prem.
Yeah, there you go. So, you being super interested in Intune, I just posted something inside of our chat. We've had this gentleman on the show, and when you talk about all things Intune, Stephen Hoskins, big shout out, Stephen. He's part of the MMET. His Intune learning on YouTube is awesome. So he takes the learn stuff and makes it very practical to be able to do it. Pablo, how long has this program been around? One more time.
So under different names, but over at least 15 years, if not longer. So
I wish I'd known about this. I mentored to a young man who's at Arizona State, self-taught machine learning, all about Microsoft now. He's here now. He's been a developer for 2 years up in Redmond. But this would have been tremendous to have a structured way for him to go learn rather than him having to deal with my ADD and trying to give him lessons and tell him to go places. And he was all over the place. But he turned out well despite my tutelage. And this is awesome to be able to go back and point somewhere. Let me ask you a question. When I think of Microsoft Learn, I'm thinking I'm going to go do it. This is my investment into learning. How much is actual led training inside your ambassador program? Or is it all self-motivated? You know what you need to do. Here's the checklist. We're going to check in if you need help versus do you have any live instructors to come on and talk about a specific topic?
Great question, and thank you for the segue into telling everybody to find students that they know that would be interested in this and having them apply at studentambassadors.com today or register today. So
there's no is there a nomination form? Can we nominate someone that we find?
There is, but yeah, as MVPs, there's a nomination form as well. But again, I think that it's just as easy to tell them to register on studentambassadors.com. But to answer your question, I'd say it's about maybe 60-40. 60% is self training on Learn, and the other 40% are cloud advocates coming in and showing them how to do different things with our different products. And so we do have, at least multiple times a month, cloud advocates coming to speak to ambassadors. We have our monthly community meetings as well, where we have the guests from Microsoft coming in and speaking to ambassadors. We actually have both MVPs and FTEs in the ambassadors tenant, interacting with their ambassadors as well. And so there's a lot of opportunity, but I'd say it's probably 60% self-learning. And really, one of the things why we're called the Microsoft Learn Student Ambassadors is because we want our ambassadors to be the ones that help guide us in terms of what do students need or what do students want from Microsoft Learn. So giving us our feedback on what's out there, helping us. Many ambassadors have helped launch different learning paths on Microsoft Learn, been part of the process in creating the learning paths, which is awesome and great thing for your resume too. And really providing that feedback as well in terms of how can this be better suited for students and how do we make this a better place for learning. And also just getting the word out to their peers. Hey, there's this entire platform where you can learn about almost everything under the Microsoft sun, if you will, and showing them how easy it is, right? And that really anybody can go do it.
And I think your program does something that it's self-vetting. If it's 60-40 or 70-30, the onus is on the person to put the time in.
Yep.
Got to put the time in, right? So I'm going to figure out whether you like this. Whatever the motivation is, time is the currency you spend to be able to do this.
Absolutely.
I see that Martin gave a shout out to Nicholas. Yeah, they get all the talent over there in Denmark. We're going to steal some from you, Martin. Once I get him over here, I'm keeping him, not coming back.
It sounded like Brody was guaranteeing a job earlier. I was
Yeah.
You're saying I was, but
Brody has those
Guaranteeing you can apply for a job.
Sounds like Brody's overworked and he's trying to get somebody to do his work for him.
That's what it is.
Delegating is always half the battle, Rod.
Delegating is a skill.
But actually, I'm glad you brought something about where I do want to touch on is, I always tell students as well that you get as much as you put into it. You get as much out of the program as you put into it, but we don't expect every ambassador to be like Nicholas and become gold, right? We want them to they're in a university. That's their top priority, is to graduate, right? And so we want them to take advantage of what makes sense for them at that time. And so, like, if you're like, what is the time investment? Well, I mean, at minimum, we want you to connect to teams once a week. We want you to join our monthly calls. But outside of that, it's really up to you. Like you said, Edward, you got to invest the time, and that's what will help you, get to where you want to go. And so, we see across the board, we'll see some students that will join and then kind of do one or two things and then just kind of stagnate. And then we see folks like Nicholas, right, that just keep on building community, keep on meeting other people, and keep on wanting to be engaging across the program. And they are the ones that become gold, and then hopefully get that job and become MVPs in the future.
Are there other programs like this? Because I'm sorry, Ray, I want to get this before I miss it. I hear all this outreach around technology and skilling, but let's not forget Microsoft's a marketing company that sells software. It's an old phrase they say a long time ago. Marketing company that sells technology, right?
Yep.
That is the biggest part of advocacy out there. There's a huge amount of money Microsoft spends on the market. What if someone's not super technically inclined, but you see a business leader in the making? Like, this person knows how to articulate this particular concept to someone. Is there opportunity to split off to say, hey, I really want to be a seller, or I want to be a developer of go-to-market type stuff? Because I don't really see a whole lot of that. When you talk about people that come up through the Microsoft ranks for marketing, I can't really get a good idea of their history. How did you get to this point? Do you guys have individuals in your program that sort of are technology, but not technologists?
Right. I mean, one of the things we know, years ago, we required that they had to be computer science or engineering background.
Okay.
We no longer require that, right? So we do have MBA students in the program. We do have business folks that are interested in starting their own business, and that is definitely part and parcel of what we want to build as a community. Do we have like a specific sales motion within the program? No, we don't.
Yeah, I don't think we can actually replace the university experience. That's part of university.
Is there like an alumni hall of fame? Like, here's our network of folks who've gone through the program. Here's where they are today. Started from the bottom. Now, now we hear.
That's a good call. I mean, most of them are MVPs, right? The ones that we would highlight there. But yeah, that's a good call. We should set up a page like that, because it would be helpful for both ambassadors themselves to see what the other previous ambassador accomplished, and also for folks that are interested in the program to see how far they could go.
How big is your team? I'm sorry, Ray.
I was just going to say an ambassador for the ambassadorship. That's all I'm saying. It was like a cute little pun, but yes.
How big is my team?
Yeah.
So I'm part of DevRel. My greater team, there's about 8 of us. I have 2 direct employees on my team, and then about 12 vendors that help support the program.
Okay, so vendor/partnership engagement also.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's folks across Microsoft. I don't touch Microsoft Learn, right? And so there's a whole team that does all the Microsoft Learn, building the platform and all the content out there. Our cloud advocates are the ones that are doing all the technology. What my team specifically does is just make sure that we run the program, decide on the strategy for the program, and kind of all the different milestones, the benefits, and all that, and support our ambassadors as they go through the program.
And probably a lot of these questions are answered on the page, so I'll go first to page, because I did not know anything that was a sub page of an MVP program. That's really, really, really cool. Yep.
Yeah. And one thing I'd mentioned too, for those that maybe the students aren't sure if they want to become an ambassador or don't know about taking that first step, is we're actually just around the corner. A week from tomorrow, we're launching our Student Innovator Series. I just posted it in the chat. And that's open to any student. And it's really about, seeing what they can do with AI. I think we have like 9 gold ambassadors presenting at reactors across the globe as part of the series, in multiple languages, in Spanish, Portuguese, Mandarin, English. So great opportunity for students out there to just kind of dip their toes in the water, right? And see what they can do. And then as part of that, they can also become an ambassador, right? So just something I think would be great for your audience to know about. And if you have students out there that aren't sure what they want to do, I would love to see them join the Student Innovator Series.
Yeah, I got some wayward youth that need direction, right? There's so much technology. They're like, they don't know, like, do I do this vendor, this tech? I think agnostic is the thing I tell them. Don't worry about who you work for. Worry about what you do. If AI is your thing, machine learning is quantum computing, whomever you believe is going to be the person that's going to, quench your thirst for knowledge, go that place, right? As adults, we try to go to the market leader, right? Who's in lead? Whoever Gartner says is in front. Well, that may not mean anything to Nicholas is in that generation, right? I just want to do the good work and see my work appreciated. So, well, this is good stuff, man. I learned a lot about this program here. I'm going to go grab it and put it out there. So when I'm doing mentorship, I can say, let me tell you about this cool program that Pablo and I put together. Yeah,
I can't guarantee your job either, Edward.
Oh God! Well, there goes that.
I also think that the hardest, or at least for the students in Denmark especially, is to find that internship. So I also think that for people at least having difficult or having problems finding an internship as well could potentially benefit from this program as well, because not only from the technical side of things, but also for soft skills as well. When you learn speaking in front of people, you learn engaging with others, all these kind of things. It's really a great way if you would like to at least stand out from the crowd. At least, I mean, that's necessary at least for some people to find an internship.
And Nicholas, if you ever get into consulting, you have to learn 1,200 ways to say "I don't know" without saying "I don't know."
Yeah.
Very important skill.
Or at least you need to know how to Google, right?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yes, absolutely.
I'm going to pub this in about 2 weeks, Pablo. I'm doing a STEM volunteership at a high school for seniors. So
Nice.
I want them to know when they, it's college independent, right? You can go whatever college you want.
I mean, you have to be enrolled in a university, so either undergrad or grad school. But for seniors, that's around the corner for them. So
yeah, they're graduating in May. Well, that's next year, but
And Pablo, you may not realize that we're in the same org, and to be honest, my little security team, we have never taken advantage of this ambassadors program. Take advantage of the MVP program quite a bit for the feedback loops, but never the ambassadors. So this is really eye-opening as well. Yeah.
Yeah, we're on to something here. This is good stuff. Oh man, Pablo, thank you so much. Nicholas, thank you for being a trooper. I know what time it is over there because I was just there.
Yes.
You have class in the morning, so yeah, thank you so much.
That's why the ambassadors. That's why we want the ambassadors. They have all that energy. They're able to stay up all night.
Well, all-nighters.
Yeah,
want a healthy work.
They don't need the Baileys in their coffee.
Right.
Bailey's coffee. Yeah. So,
again, Nicholas, for me, it's inspiring to see our Gold Ambassadors do things like this, right? I mean, Nicholas invited me, by the way. Well, I mean, through Nicholas, I got invited to this, and so this is not. I just want to point out, like, that it's really inspiring to me.
That's a big deal. Yeah.
What our students are capable of, right? And what they do. And so, yeah, really appreciate it, Nicholas. Thank you for thinking of the program and wanting to put it on a great stage like this. And thanks, Rod, for the invite.
Yeah.
Is there a level above gold that Nicholas may look forward to after
MVP?
MVP.
Nice. Yeah.
MVP is next.
Maybe we can get Frank Grimberg in. Maybe this will be his way he get MVP.
I mean, it's important to emphasize how the distinction of usually it's like top, down to kind of funnel the excitement up. But the fact that Nicholas created the energy and made sure that we represented the program to its fullest, I think that's a big deal and a testament to your bright future, Nicholas.
Yeah, thank you.
They inspire me to get up every morning.
There you go. So, Nicholas, before we close the show, you get the last word, young man. Sir? What?
Everyone should get to MMS next year, and then we can get into Wahlburgers, right, Rod?
Yes, we'll all go to Wahlburgers together. Right.
I'll be there next year. I'll miss Orlando, wherever it is. Fort Lauderdale. I'll miss that one in October. Yeah, but I'll be there next year for sure. Coming up so I can see the Mall of the Americas, Mall of the World, and do it. Well, everyone, thanks so much. Big shout out to Ray. I know she's tired. They're working her to death. Those trips are never fun, Ray, when you go up to Redmond. Yeah. And then they work you up all night.
I'm having fun. I'm hanging out with my teammates and seeing folks here and getting to, get some work done in a different space. And I'm excited about it.
All right. And once again, happy birthday to one of the most outstanding hosts of the best podcast in the world, Brody.
Brody,
Hey, look at him
happy
go down.
birthday.
Happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday,
Brody.
Yep. One more year, it's over.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, once you hit 40, the wheels come off. That's it.
I
No,
turned
yeah.
40 in
I got
May.
plans.
Would you stop it? But I think
Yeah,
it's only,
guys.
yeah.
Maybe
it's not
we'll
your
maybe we'll, maybe
chronological
we'll skip
age,
the
it's
show
your-
that week. Maybe we'll
Yeah,
skip
they
the
don't
show
they
that
don't
week.
make once you hit 40, there are no more parts for you. You're a classic then. All right,
Okay.
so
All right.
hey,
Ray, we're ancient like fine wines. I wouldn't worry about it.
you might like-
No, you and me, we're like twins. Yes, yeah.
There
You're-
you go.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Well, thanks everyone to all of our listeners, supporters, and for coming on the show. Thanks to Nicholas and Pablo for coming on and talking about the ambassador program at Microsoft. Awesome thing. One of those hidden gems. We're definitely going to promote this, actively, and maybe stick it on our show as a permanent link or something if we can to tell everybody about this. This is an awesome resource. We'll be back here next week, same time, same channel. Thanks everyone.